Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today I'm going to give you a crochet update. So I am a beginner crocheter, but I'm getting really into it right now, but I am by no means great at it yet. But I thought it would be fun to give you guys an update of where I'm at in my crochet journey. So I decided the first thing that I was going to make was a blanket for one of my cats. I have 4 cats, but one of them specifically, Dexter, really likes to be underneath blankets. So if Ryan and I are sitting on the couch, he'll like try to dig to get under the blankets. So I was like, I'll make Dexter his own blanket. And I did, and I think it turned out pretty cute. So this is Dexter's blanket. I found a pattern on YouTube. I watched a YouTube video. I can't remember which one, but if I remember, I'll link it down below. But basically, I had 2 different kinds of yarn that I had from a few years ago when I first tried to learn crochet. So I had like the blue one and the tan one, both which were like variegated, so change colors. But it's just a Suzette stitch over and over and over again, which was a new stitch for me, so that was fun to learn. And then the border, which I think turned out pretty cute as well, is the herringbone half double crochet, also a new stitch for me. So this did take me like probably a week, because I am not the fastest crocheter, but I will say I am getting faster. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. There was a point in time where I think I added a stitch. There was a point in time where I think I lost a stitch, but this is like, they're like 20 rows apart. And so it's a little wonky, but it turned out pretty cute. And most importantly, Dexter has laid under it a few times. So I think that he is a fan of his little blanket. The next thing that I decided to do was, on TikTok, I kept seeing people doing what's called a chaos blanket. Now, typically the people that were doing chaos blankets kind of already knew how to crochet. And the point of them doing a chaos blanket was to get rid of kind of leftover skeins of yarn that they had from previous projects to clear out room for more yarn. I didn't have that problem, but I thought it would be a really fun way for me to learn some new stitches and practice some stitches before I move on to making something else. I have a work conference out of town in September, and so I'm kind of hoping that if I can get through the chaos blanket, or maybe I pause the chaos blanket, we'll see. I want to make a dress for it because we always have like a party at the end of the conference, and I think it would be really fun to like wear something that I made, but that might be a little bit too ambitious for me, especially considering how the chaos blanket is going. So I will show you where I'm kind of at right now. If you follow me on TikTok or you watch my shorts here, you'll see kind of the more up to date in the moment updates of the chaos blanket. So here's where we are at currently with the chaos blanket. If you don't know how a chaos blanket works, is you pick a random yarn, a random stitch, and a random amount of rows, and that's what you crochet. And so I have them all up in these mugs here right now, and when I'm done a section, I pull what the next section will be. So the first thing that I pulled was the granny stitch, which was new for me. So to make it easier for myself, because full transparency, I suck at crocheting into a chain. I'm confused by it still, not great at it. So I did first 1 row of single crochets just to make it a little bit easier for myself for the granny stitch, which I'm gonna come back to in a second because things have happened. My knowledge has gotten greater and I messed it up, is what it comes down to. Then what was next was 5 rows of single crochet in this teal color. Obviously I knew how to do single crochets, so that one had no issues on that one. The next row was the next section was 2 rows of triple crochets in this pretty like grayish black color. At first I was just like, oh, I just did single crochets, it's gonna feel so similar. It wasn't. I actually really enjoyed the triple crochets, and it definitely helped to bulk up the blanket quite a bit because I went from there to there. So I actually really enjoyed the triple crochets. And since it was just 2 rows, that section went pretty quickly for me. Whereas like the 5 rows of single crochets felt like it took my entire life. The next one was 4 rows of the herringbone half double crochet, which as a reminder was the border on Dexter's blanket. So that one I was pretty comfortable with. And that was in this pretty variegated skein, so it does change colors. That one went quite well, I think. I didn't really have too many issues with that one, so I'm happy there. And then it was 5 rows of the mesh stitch in this gray color. It was also my first time doing a mesh stitch. I cannot say that. And I honestly love what that added to the blanket because again, it bulked it up a little bit, but it also just texture wise was so different. I did struggle with the mesh stitch a little bit just because I'm not very good at this yet, but we will get there. I'm new, so I'm trying to give myself some grace. I'm not expecting this blanket to be perfect. This is essentially a practice project, right? So I gotta be kind to myself and not worry too much. Here's where it gets a little sketchy. The next was 5 rows. I got 5 rows back to back of double crochets. I was having a hard time getting the double crochets into the mesh stitch because they were like so tight. I feel like I'm not great with my tension yet. So what I ended up doing on the first row was I would go into it on some of them, and then on like the gap part, I would just go into the gap because I was struggling. The black yarn also not the greatest. It was like splitting, and so it was just hard to work with. But what I realized when I moved on to the next section is that I didn't do 5 rows of double crochets. I did 5 rows of half double crochets. And do you want to know how I figured that out? I started on my next section, which was granny stitches again. It's actually the first thing that has repeated in my chaos blanket because that's what we did first. Because it's a new stitch for me, I needed the YouTubes. And so I was watching the video, and in theory, it's nice and easy. You do a double crochet into like every 4th one. So you do 3 double crochets into the right one, and then you skip 3, and then you do 3 more double crochets, and you carry on your merry way, which made me realize that is not what I did for this granny stitch, because if I look here, I definitely only skipped 2. So basically my chaos blanket started wrong. But then on top of it, this is also how I identified that these are not double crochets. They are half double crochets because I was watching the video after I did like a full row, a full 2 rows actually. I did 2 full rows wrong of where I was watching the video on YouTube again to like remember how to turn and like what I needed to do to start the next row. And I was watching it, and that's when I saw like what her hands were doing for the stitches, and I was like, it's not what my hands are doing. And that's when I was just like, I'm not doing a double crochet at all. I am doing a half double crochet. I think it might not even be a half double crochet. Basically what I've been doing is I've been yarning over, going through, pulling through 1, yarning over, pulling through 2, yarning over, pulling through 2, which I think was in my habit from the herringbone half double crochet. And so I messed up. So I am going to pull the 2 rows that I have done with the half double crochet and restart that. So that's fun for me because I need to do 6 rows of this, and I feel like it went by pretty quickly to do these first 2 rows. So I don't think it's like too difficult to go back and fix that. Am I gonna go back and redo the black section? Absolutely not. that took me forever. And so it is what it is now. I'm a liar, basically, in my TikTok video, but is what it is. I'll correct it in the next one. But that's where we're at with my chaos blanket. It's more chaotic than I expected because of my own struggles. I'm trying to be nice to myself, but basically I messed up because I suck, but I'm getting there, so it is what it is. And it's definitely wonky in places. Like, I don't know what happened over here, to be honest. I don't know if blocking will fix this, because it seems like these are all right, but the herringbone half double crochet and the mesh one seems like they've just kind of fallen. So I don't know. I don't even know how I would block a blanket this big, but I'm leaving it in the crochet god's hands right now. I'm just gonna do my best, carry on, and what will be, will be. So this is why I think making a dress to wear in September might be a little unrealistic, but we'll see. I'll give you an update on how I'm feeling about that in my next crochet update, which will probably just be an update on how we've done on the chaos blanket. But if you have any tips, I would appreciate it in the comments down below, because I don't know what I'm doing, and apparently I also can't count. So crochet is going real well for me, but the important thing is I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying having something to do with my hands while I'm just chilling watching TV. And so I will redo those 2 rows. I'm sad about it, I'm not gonna lie, but it is what it is. So that is my crochet update for you this week. If you like crochet, books, or gardening, I would really appreciate you giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video.